how the politicians of this country have taken the law into their hands, how they make the law, bend the law, mend the law, and they have taken the law into their own hands, and where they feel that you and I are living in a lawless country. There are times where we feel we are living in a lawless country because we don't feel the representatives that who are appointed to uphold the rule of law is adhering to the law. So it is important that we as a body voice these concerns in a manner that we can achieve something significant in this country. Why we are doing this today is because you and I hope for a better society, for a better Sri Lanka, for our citizens, for the citizens of this country, and for the children that are born in this country. You and I live in a country that is going forward, getting eroded on a day-by-day basis because of gender inequalities, because of racism, because of bigotry, because of injustice, because of the indifferentiation of treating humans. We need to create a country where there's equality. Equality is not just about mentioning it in the fundamental rights of this constitution, but equality must be practiced. Law enforcement authorities must be pressurized to bring people to justice, where law can be a form where people believe that justice will be attained. And we see how the law is bended and mended. Different people in this country are treated differently. Politicians, one particular law for the politicians, one particular law for the civilians. There is a discrepancy. All these things have eroded has resulted towards Sri Lanka being a lawless nation, and thereafter the economic crisis that you and I are experiencing is also a fact because of these situations. So here we are creating a platform with the objective of being that body, being the objective of being that pressurized organization, being that body that can be accessible to the people of this country. We are an organization, we are an individuals who have come together, who don't have other agendas. We're not funded by anybody, but we come here purely in the interest of justice so that we can be a voice. So this organization today we are launching, and we have come up with 7 principles which we hope are the objectives of this organization, which you and I, which this organization stand for. Objective number 1, providing professional input to enhance the theoretical provisions necessary to uphold the rule of law and secure civil rights for a just and law-abiding society. Now, one thing we know in this country is that the rule of law is going down day by day. There were many cases that were filed, the Express Pearl incident, the New Diamond incident. There are cases relating to Pandora Papers, the bribery and commission of this country. Then recently we saw a minister bringing about 7.5 kilograms of gold to this country, and where he is just where he just pays a fine and he gets released. So things like that. In this country, there is how is a law being served on the people? So is there rule of law in this country is something which we want to question. There are instances, but we don't see justice being attained. So we as an organization, we want to provide professional input to enhance the theoretical provisions necessary to uphold the rule of law. Objective number 2, commitment to create a civil freedom environment that can influence the state and the government to empower the community within the legal framework required for broader civil intervention in social, economic, political, and cultural matters for a better country. I think it is important that we create a civil movement where the peoples of this country can connect with the lawyers, can connect with the bodies, where people of this country can come forward to raise their voices. So we want to create that environment where there is civil freedom that can influence the state, influence the decision makers of this country to empower. Influence the decision makers of this country to empower the community within the legal framework required for a broader civil intervention. Objective number 3, providing legal aid to the aggrieved parties and victims when fundamental rights guaranteed by the Constitution are violated, and to create broader social discourse for it. One thing we see in this country is that people's fundamental rights and human rights are being violated. We see the draconian laws like the Prevention of Terrorism Act. We saw recently the Anti-Terrorism Act, which was brought forward by the rulers of this country. We see many instances where the fundamental rights of this country are being violated. We as a body will assist to any aggrieved party to come we will come forward to assist any aggrieved party in an instance where their fundamental rights are violated. Objective number 4, empowering citizens to prevent racism, bigotry and harmful conditions of human existence on the basis of gender or religion, race and culture or sexuality. So one thing we see is we as a country in Sri Lanka, we are divided because of racism. And we saw during the struggle where everybody came together, where we shredded racism in this country. But recently we see there are certain incidences where racism is uprising again. If Sri Lanka is to be governed in a scientific manner, if we are to see a prosperous Sri Lanka, we need to shed things like racism, discrimination, differentiation. We must be able to respect a citizen of this country as a true Sri Lankan, whether he's a Sinhala, Tamil, Muslim or Burger, it does not matter. Your sexuality doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you are a gay or a lesbian or a straight or whether you are a LGBTQ community person. Everybody must be treated with respect and equality, and we will ensure that we will stand to empower the citizens to prevent this racist environment in this country. Objective number 5, creating a broad free platform to enforce the legal protection it needs in cases where democratic rights of the public are violated within the legal framework. We want to create a platform where we voice our concerns, a democratic platform to ensure that the democratic rights of the people are sustained. We see many instances, the three organs of this country, the executive, the legislature and the judiciary, many instances where they violate the democratic framework, where the executive overrides the powers, where the executive cross over his powers to the legislature. We see the imbalance between these three organizations. So we as an organization commit ourselves to uphold the democratic rights of Sri Lanka, and to create a broader platform. We will say we will file cases in instances where people's democratic rights are violated. We hope to access the judiciary. We hope to seek justice in such events. Objective number 6, preparing the necessary legal provisions to empower the citizen power on the basis of improving civil rights, and prepare a comprehensive integrated work program with civil citizens mechanisms where legislature can express its views, suggestions, demands in this regard. Now, one thing which we see in this country, that a legislature is drafted just in parliament. There is not much people's intervention. There's no people's consultation that happens. We saw when the Anti-Terrorism Act was drafted, it was merely drafted by a few lawyers, few people, but there was no broader consensus. We see that people's needs, people's voices, people's opinions need to be consulted. People's franchise is being misused by these politicians. We, the people in this country, think our rights are only limited to the vote we exercise, but there is a broader right that we have. We should get involved. There are instances where we can get involved in governance, and we need to create a platform where people of this country have the right to express their views in relation to legislature. So we as an organization will act as an intermediary body where you can access it when there's legislature, where you can access us and where we will communicate it to the necessary people in this country. And objective number 7, in cases where violation of the freedom of speech and expression is suppressed by the state, intervening in the legal provisions available for both nationally and internationally, and taking necessary steps to obtain justice and fairness. Now, one thing which you and I know is that our freedom of speech in this country has been curtailed. We see how the executive on and on in many instances have created an environment where people's freedom of speech, the right to protest, has been curtailed. So we as an organization commit ourselves towards upholding the freedom of speech of this country, and to bring in that national and international interventions wherever required. So with these broad 7 objectives in mind, 7 principles of this in mind, we a few lawyers form this Lawyers for Truth and Justice, a collective. We launch it today, and we invite you, the general public, to get in touch with us. We have a Facebook page, there's a hotline number. You can connect us, whether you are in Sri Lanka or whether you are overseas. If you are an individual that has a passion for this country, so that you believe that Sri Lanka should be a better state, for not just for the citizens that live in this country, for our children. And if you are a citizen who is living overseas, who have migrated because you were disappointed in this country, do not give up your hope. There is still hope for Sri Lanka. It is said that when good people are silent, only that rulers take over. But when people come forward, when as people as a collective, when they come forward, and when there is citizenry power, we can exert that power on the rulers of this country. One thing the rulers of this country think, that when they are elected and when they go to parliament, they think they are the kings, they are the gods, but they do not act towards upholding or honoring the mandate of the people. Today we see a minister, I don't want to mention the name, the minister who bought 7.5 kilograms, who carried 7.5 kilograms in his luggage with 91 cell phones, coming very broadly in parliament and making a very profound statement, a very proudly and profound statement, where he says that I will not vote for the government because the government did not assist. We like to ask that particular politician, are you there to vote because the government assisted you? Are you not a policymaker of this country? Isn't your vote determined on the policies of the country? Who are you? Are you just there for your own benefit? And the people of this country also must understand, whoever they put into these chairs, that you might bring in, you might elect your MP, but is your MP just there for the sake of being there for his benefit? We all need to wake up. There needs to be citizenry movement. There needs to be citizenry awakening in this country. So that is why we as an organization, we as a body together, we want to say this is a body that is open to all of you, open to the general public, open to everybody who is all out there, be it local, be it international. Come join us, speak to us. Please help us to take this country forward, because if it is only the good people of this country, if they come forward and raise a voice, that we can ensure that we will have a better Sri Lanka. So with that objective in mind, today we launch the Lawyers for Truth and Justice, and we welcome all of you to get connected with us, and let's journey together. Thank you.
රිපෝට වාරණයෙන් තොර අපක්ෂපාතී වාර්තාකරණය